And welcome to Business Line Radio. We're talking with John Cioffoletti, the CIO of Royal Sovereign Bullion Group. John has over 20 years of international experience in finance, precious metals, and investment banking. Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. I want to thank you again for having me back on the show.
Always good to have you on. Would you please do us a favor and tell us about this debt ceiling situation?
Well, first and foremost, let me be clear when saying that this was scripted from day one. The back and forth tussle was designed to make the average American think that our politicians are hard at work fighting for cuts that will make a difference, when in reality, they did nothing to address the short-term problems that we face. And it's sad. It's sad because I wonder how many Americans even realize that our survival depends on our ability to borrow. If the United States of America does not borrow money, it can't pay its bills. And we've went from being the world's largest creditor nation from back in the 50s to whereas now we are the world's largest debtor nation. And this theatrical fight that the world just witnessed was a fight to increase that debt. So as a proud American, it has to make you sad.
In simple terms, are you able to recap this deal for us?
They're going to raise the debt ceiling between $2.1 and $2.4 trillion, and it's going to be over 3 installments. You'll have $400 billion immediately, $500 billion this fall, and there will be an additional $1.2 to $1.5 trillion after a special committee agrees on a matching amount of spending cuts. That will be in addition, of course, to the $900 billion in spending cuts that is proposed in this bill.
Are there any tax increases?
There are no tax increases, John, on paper included in this plan. All of this additional debt that they're adding will eventually be monetized and paid for through monetary inflation. So it's a silent, deadly tax. It's one that you don't immediately see, but make no mistake about it, inflation is the worst tax.
They've been giving us the impression they want to make cuts to spending. Are they doing that?
The deal is supposed to cut as much as $2.4 trillion in spending over the next decade. None of these spending cuts will occur anytime soon. That's the problem I have with this. And they're doing that so not to derail this phony economic recovery that this administration wants you to believe. So no cuts come until early 2013, and by then we're going to need once again to raise the debt ceiling. It'll probably be north of $20 trillion. If our elected representatives were serious about cutting spending, they would have the bulk of the spending cuts now and not in the future, when many of them, John, will be out of office. No politician wants this on his watch. They don't want to be the person known for cutting Social Security or Medicaid, Medicare benefits, because a great deal of Americans have grown dependent on our government to live. Mm-hmm. And it's sad because America has become a socialist welfare state. We have close to 46 million Americans on food stamps, and that number grows by 20,000 people a day. We have what seems to be unlimited unemployment benefits. And I can go on, but the reality is the easy way for a politician to get elected and then reelected in this country is to give stuff away for free. So this deal is a joke, and in no way will these spending cuts be mandated, so nothing will force future Congresses to even abide by them.
Well, then we have the issue of government-induced inflation.
John, we're experiencing inflation right now in the two most important areas of life, which is food and oil. Think back to the year 2000. The average price for a gallon of gasoline was $1.61, national average. The average cost for a loaf of bread was just shy of $1. So the value of the U.S. dollar is withering away right before our very eyes, and it's lost over 40% of its purchasing power since 2008. So think about that. $1 buys you 40% less goods and services since 2008. That's called monetary inflation, and it's only going to get worse.
Well, we have inflation. What about hyperinflation, John?
Oh, hyperinflation is the end result. It's the worst form, of course. There have been over 20 cases of hyperinflation over the last 100 years, most notably the Weimar Republic in 1923, and most recently we saw Zimbabwe in 2009, and increasing the debt ceiling with no major cuts to our military spending or the massive entitlements that we just spoke of. We've created a situation where it's absolutely certain that we're headed towards that list of countries that have experienced hyperinflation, and this will eventually lead to the extinction of the U.S. dollar. It's only a matter of time.
John, thank you so much for being with us on Business Line Radio.
Oh, I appreciate it, John, anytime.
John Cioffoletti, CIO of Royal Sovereign Bullion Group. And John has over 20 years of international experience in finance, precious metals, and investment banking. Royal Sovereign Bullion Group. They sell gold, silver, and precious metals. You may want to get in touch with them. Thank you for listening to Business Line Radio. I'm John St. George.